I don't record unboxings, unpackaging of systems that I get for videos. But every time I turn this thing, it rattles just a little bit more. So I'm a little concerned about its health state. So let's try and get this unwrapped. Okay. No, I don't think that works. So that could be a problem. These switches seem to still be okay, but of course this is mostly in place. I'm surprised seems to be a momentary switch, but anyway, I've already mentioned that they have bent this key lock, and it might even be in the locked position. In which case, I'm gonna just take it out anyway, because I don't have the keys, so it's pretty useless to me. I don't know how they did that. Let me see if I can get this out without breaking it. Yeah, they bent this whole assembly here. Which, again, that takes a special kind of skill. So, whatever. So that'll have to come out. There's this dent in the top cover that I don't think was there in the pictures. This is obviously broken. If we take a look at the back, it looks like everything is reasonably okay. We have a sound card. We have a modem, which might be a little bent. I don't like the looks of that. But maybe it was like that before, I don't know. None of the ports look sheared off or anything like that. It's actually got an onboard joystick port, which is amazing. I don't know if it would work with the one on the card there being there, but parallel and serial. This would have been for an optional telephone modem that this doesn't have because it's got the expansion card. Power supply looks okay. PB400T 50. I wonder if this is a 50 megahertz 486. Kind of interesting. PB400T. I want to pop this cover off, though, because I have a feeling that there's probably more carnage than what you can see on the outside. Wow, these are some weird screws. Oops. I would like to have that, please. Does not want to stay on my screwdriver, but yeah, can't lose those. That'd be a real problem. Now, I don't know if this is going to come off. It looks like this is going to come off from the front, which means it's going to have to come off from the faceplate. I hope I don't have to pull that faceplate off, because I really don't want to. I don't think this is the correct screw, or, well, that's broken, in all likelihood. I don't even know if I can get that out of there. Come on. Yeah, that's probably going to be stuck. Which suggests that there's more broken plastic on the inside of this. Oops. It's got a washer on it. Okay, let's see what happens when we try and pull the cover. The initial prognosis is that this fan assembly is still intact, it looks like. So that can probably just go back where it came from. If I could figure out how it actually went into the case. Okay, so here's a synopsis. It looks like that's pretty easy to jumper over. That key lock, which is what that is. That's what this white thing is. It goes to this, which, as you can see, is very bent. And not at all in the correct position. So, it might have actually been like that because this is in the locked position. So, that thought just occurred to me now. So it's possible that the previous owner actually bent this and not the shipping company. You can see there's some soldered RAM there. It looks like that's all in place. Could have had some SIM sockets instead of soldered RAM, but it does have some oddly 30-pin SIMs. This is a 486. Kind of surprised to see 30-pin SIMs in a 486, but some of them certainly did have it. Don't know what it is. It's got a heatsink on it, though. It looks like, for the most part, this is intact, though. Oak Technology. So that's who manufactured the VGA. Haven't seen their name in a while. This modem. Initially, I actually thought that this right here was the PC speaker. But it's not. This came from the modem. You can see the wiring there. So this modem is now complete garbage. And, ooh, look at the pins on that. That's the Packard Bell sound card. At least I assume it's a Packard Bell. One of these Aztec media cards. Both IDE, but I'm going to have to straighten those pins out, at least better than they were, because otherwise that's going to short and cause a problem. The hard drive is here. I can't read any of the rate and numbers on it, because it's one of those Seagate drives with the stupid holographic label that you can't read. So, I gotta figure out how this drive cage works. I'm not sure. I guess you unscrew this thing here, and then the drive would go in there. It's too bad this is broken, but I'm probably going to put a second optical drive in here, have two drives, and then put the floppy here where it belongs. And that'll give me my my cover, at least, because I don't have a cover for that, because the cover broke. Lots of bits of broken plastic, and then there's this, which I think was probably over top of that. I have no idea. And then there's this, which is normally tack welded under the case. They managed to break that. Again, I have no idea how. I don't see a battery on this board somewhere, which is kind of interesting. It's probably on the underside, but I'm not going to be able to see it without pulling this whole entire drive cage, and I really don't want to do that. So I'm going to hope, oh god, there it is. Fortunately, it looks like it hasn't done too much damage yet, but I'm going to see if I can get in there and pull that out, because it looks like it has started leaking. So I'm going to take care of some of this. We'll get it over to the work area and we'll power it up and see if it even works. I must say I'm not a fan of this drive cage assembly. Seems kind of unnecessarily hokey, but whatever. We can see that, definitely some damage caused by that battery. It looks like it's fairly minimal. That tracer is completely destroyed. Right there. Looks like there might be some surface mount components over there that are damaged. But this does have a chance of still working. I've seen worse that still worked. is the culprit right there. So I'm going to put this back if I can, because like I said, I really don't like this drive cage assembly. It's kind of an unnecessary pain to work with. I'm going to straighten out the pins on that Reveal that Reveal sound card. And then I'm going to, I thought it was Aztec. Maybe it is. And it just has the Reveal stickers on it, but anyway. Yeah, it is IDE though. It does say ATCD on it. It's plugged into 2 for some reason, so maybe those pins have been bent for a while. So the damage might already be done, but let me see if I can get this straightened out. Yeah, look at that. Yikes. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. It probably leached through that, because I know that battery acid tends to do that. Floppy drive is unplugged, but the computer is plugged in. I've kind of straightened out the pins on that. I don't care if it ever works again. I just want them not shorted so it doesn't blow up. But it might be too late for that. Let's power it on. It did absolutely nothing. Yep, that's dead. So unless I've got the wrong power cord, which I could, it's always a possibility, it looks like this might not be a happy ending. Yeah, wrong power cord. Let's try again. That's the hard drive, I think. But the power's on. Packard Bell. America grew up listening to us. It still does. That's doing something interesting. 7168K extended. Obviously invalid configuration information. Keyboard is locked. Okay. So I don't think I could really do anything with this. So what I'm going to do is I'll power this off. And I'll pull that jumper out. And then we'll go into setup, see if we can configure this. That hard drive I can tell is toast. So that's going to have to come out of there. Okay, take 2. Jumper pulled out. Yeah, the hard drive probably actually worked. And this is probably doing that because it's face up. So, and that's one of these Phoenix A486 BIOSes. I hate these because they tend not to work very well. Of course, invalid configuration information. Press F2 to run setup. CMOS battery back RAM lost power. And standard CMOS checksum invalid. Okay, so here's what we've got. This is what it uses for defaults. Now, I don't know if this is going to save settings over a reboot, because some of these don't. You can hit F2 for the system info, which tells us exactly nothing. Oops. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with this monitor. I think there's something wrong with the monitor. I don't know why it does that. It's just broken. So, probably means I'm going to replace this monitor here soon. I mean, it was a free monitor, so I guess I can't complain, but I think I'm going to just do that right now. Let me see if I can go find another display, because this one's obviously having a moment. Okay. Even despite the monitor's protests, we'll save and exit. See if it can save settings across a reboot. Some of these A486s don't. And I really don't know why. It's only some of them. It seems to be completely spotty. I find that Phoenix really had no idea how to make a BIOS back in the pre-Pentium days, because the 386 ones don't really work either. But it doesn't say invalid configuration information, so it's probably fine. We get our sickly sounding beep, and it's not going to do anything because there's no boot devices. So, let me see what I can do about some of the situation. I'm going to try and plug the floppy drive back in, get that set up. See if I can find a boot disk somewhere around here, or make a boot disk, I guess is probably more accurate. And from there, I don't know, but it does work, so I guess there's one thing. It'll obviously need a new hard drive. Even outside of the system, you can't even read the label on the drive. Here's what it is, or I guess was. 243 megabytes unformatted capacity. A little bit of battery corrosion over there. Wouldn't be surprised if that actually got in the drive, and that's what's causing all the problems. I replace it with a Quantum ProDrive LPS that came out of the HP Vectra 486-33U when I got rid of it. Also 240 megabytes in size. But I'm going to have to look up the CHS parameters because, again, this being an older system, you need to know those parameters. I don't remember how to get set up on this. I think it's Control-Alt-Escape. It's not delete like it is on some systems, although we're going to get into setup anyway because obviously there's no battery. Diskette drive 0 and drive 1 failure. Is the drive even plugged in? Okay, so this is how this is supposed to be set up. I'm making the assumption that floppy drive is any good, and that I've actually plugged it in correctly. If we take a look, let's see, 234, but we've lost some RAM. It's now down at 3072. I'm not sure why. See if that floppy drive actually reacts to anything. See if it goes to 3072 or if it goes beyond that this time. And now it's at 7168 again. That floppy drive is not doing anything. So I'm probably going to have to check my work. Yeah, memory size was invalid. Now it's correct. So we'll save that. And see if that works. So it's definitely got some problems detecting memory. Should be in turbo mode right now. But I don't know if turbo is green or orange on this system. Usually it was green. But yeah, that floppy drive is not reacting to anything at all, so I'm pretty sure that it's got a problem. Configuration information is fine, so we're just going to hit F1 because this is silly. So, here we go, MS-DOS. It's just 6, actually it's version 6. Ooh, I made it lock up. Oh, there it goes. You notice that it's only reporting conventional memory. Because, I don't know, is smart drive even, or not smart drive, high mem even loaded? Oh no, it is. So, anyway, I'm going to double check over that floppy drive. Make sure that I've plugged in the cable correctly, etc., etc. But I think that that drive might be completely toast. Okay, so this thing. You can see I've got the floppy drive in the 3.5-inch bay, and I was going to put a second optical drive in here, but as it turns out, if you take a look there, that's not IDE, that is something else. And this drive right down here is not IDE, this is a creative, well, it's actually a Panasonic CR563B, which is what that interface is for. So, I don't know if this is an actual Aztec sound card. Maybe it is. I can't remember the last time I saw one of those in person. But it looks like this is definitely an aftermarket add-on from Reveal. Still have no idea what CPU that actually is. It might be an SX, because that is a 487 socket. But it also might not be, because I've seen DXs with that 487 slot there. By the way, a 487 doesn't exist. What they marketed as the 487SX, I believe is what they called it, was actually a 486DX that would disable the onboard CPU. And it wouldn't work with some certain lower-end 486s that didn't have the disable pin. Well, that might have been for 386s. But I remember there being issues with CPUs not having the ability to disable them. Certain cheap ones, like the lower-end, like 16 megahertz CPUs and such like. So, this thing's booted, and it's only seeing 3 megs of RAM again. So I don't know what's going on. It must not be seeing this expansion memory properly. Although I don't know why it would only have 3 megs on the board unless it needs parity memory. Which maybe it does. I have no idea. But I'm going to have to set that again because of course this loses its settings every time you turn it off because it's an AT power supply. How big of a power supply is that? I can't really tell. Okay, I do like this smoked plastic on the front. Looks pretty neat. Let's try and operate the power switch. Nope. I don't think that's going to work at all. Even though it should. I don't know why it's not. There we go. Huh. That's a real pain. Let's see how much RAM it thinks it has this time. Yeah, we're back to 3 megs again. I'll have to see if this motherboard has a connector on it for a battery, and maybe add some battery to this. I've got some 2x CR2032 holders. A CR2032 on its own should be good enough, but might give that a try. So the LEDs in the front of the case. Like I said, it's kind of interesting to have a 486 with 30-pin SIMs, like this one does. So, it does see all the memory. So it seems to be working. go ahead and we can press turbo. See there in the reset. So, all in all, I guess not too bad. All things considered. The brittle plastic and everything. It is kind of a little too bad about the damage on the front, but that could probably mostly be dealt with. I'll probably have to lube up that power switch right there because it's not attached to anything, it's just sitting there. And it's stuck. So, we'll see if we can actually turn the system off with it. Not really. Okay, well, that's interesting. So, some work required, but the system does function. And I guess that's all you can really hope for old systems like this.